Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the King Island Ordinary Council meeting for the month of January 2025, our first council meeting for the year of 2025. For the record, today's date is Tuesday, the 28th of January 2025. I call the meeting to order and declare the meeting open at 4:02 p.m. Usual housekeeping, if you could please ensure that your mobile phones are turned off or put on silent so we're not interrupted during the course of the meeting. Thank you. Item 1, as always, is qualified advice. Pursuant to Section 65 of the Local Government Act of the State of Tasmania, 1993, qualified advice has been received to fully prepare the agenda for this afternoon. Item 2, attendance and apologies. I welcome all councillors and staff in attendance. There are nil councillor apologies. There are nil councillors on a leave of absence. So confirming our quorum numbers, we are 9 of 9. So we are certainly good to transact all council business as required. Staff attendance, King Island Council staff are here as required. We've done a comms check with Malcolm. We're loud and clear with him. Staff apologies. Helen is not with us tonight. She's overseas and so can't dial in because of the time zone. And similarly, Leah is absent. Very rare that Leah is absent from any of our council meetings, but she's absent tonight, not able to zoom in. And so Jess is standing in and taking the minutes for tonight's meeting. So media attendance proceedings are being recorded as per normal business. Public attendance. On behalf of King Island Council, I welcome all interested constituents that are here in the gallery today and also those who will listen to the recording. For the opening statement, could everyone please stand? Councillors, to begin this meeting, I ask you to stand in silence to pray or reflect on our responsibilities to the people of King Island. We begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay our respects to their elders, past and present. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. Thank you. Please resume your seats. Item 3 is presentations. There are nil. Item 4 is public question time. We only have one. Well, visitor. Or half a constituent. Yeah, we'll call you a temporary constituent, but all right, no public questions. We will move on to item 5, declaration of interests. Are there any declaration of interests for the ordinary meeting agenda this afternoon? Don't foresee any? No, good. We'll move on. Item 6, questions on notice. There are nil. Across to item 7, questions without notice. Does any councillor have a question without notice? Right? No questions. We'll move on. Item 8, confirmation of the previous minutes. Our last ordinary council meeting was 10th of December last year. Those minutes have been distributed and issued to all. Any issues or concerns with those minutes? If councillors are satisfied, would somebody like to move acceptance of those minutes? Deputy Mayor has moved. Do I have a second? Councillor Ira Cook has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Still with us, Jess?
Yep.
Got that? Over the page, item 9.1, a Mayor's Diary for December. Again, kept it to one page. Welcome any questions or discussions. Councillor Ira Cook.
Yeah, with the item on the 12th of December, could you tell us how we are looking with the response team, the virtual 4th King Island response team meeting chaired by the Premier? How's it looking for the area?
Yeah, look, the King Island response team is developing and growing. That particular meeting back on the 12th of December, chaired by the Premier who zoomed in, we presented a few ideas to the King Island response team for consideration. The possible appointment of a brand manager as such for King Island to be involved in a whole range of business and tourist development and a whole range of other things. That idea was submitted to the King Island response team back then and was reasonably well received. We've actually got the King Island response team meeting for this month, or for this, the next King Island response team meeting has actually been brought forward to this Thursday, or Thursday this week, coinciding with the Premier's visit, so he'll be here in person and be able to chair the next one. We continue to discuss ideas. We continue to update and appraise the current situation for which the response team was stood up for back in December. We also got an update from the Saputo representatives and the other representatives that sit in on that response team. Nothing startling at this stage. Everything remains a work in progress, still relatively early, and clearly the situation with King Island Dairy and other developing situations at the moment continue to play out. So again, the response team meeting coming up this Thursday will be a continuation of all of that, and again continuing to develop and advance things on all fronts with whatever the outcome with King Island Dairy is as we progress forward. I really can't give you any more specifics than that. Again, these response teams are well represented by a local array of representatives, and we have a good interest and involvement from others outside that zoom in as well. So including a union representative, and including, of course, an officially appointed Saputo representative that can speak on their behalf at these meetings. But obviously with what's going on at the moment involving the potential or ongoing potential sale of King Island Dairy and Saputo, most of which continues to be happening behind closed doors, there's not much of that we're able to discuss in these response team meetings. It's more the scenarios of what if that we're trying to flesh out in those response team meetings. So hopefully that answers your question. Councillor Layla.
16th of December, you had a visit from Senator Colbeck and a new Braddon Liberal candidate, Mel Hingston.
Yes, I did.
And he was spoke very highly of King Island in his visit, and he would have liked to have met some of the other councillors, but as you'd said, the council had dissolved for the year, so the councillors didn't think it was appropriate to invite them, and three of us were all away. But do you have any feedback from your discussions with Mel?
Yeah, thanks, Councillor. And you're right. It was just after council had essentially dissolved for the year. I was actually booted out of my office that week myself. The late in the year visit by Senator Colbeck and the new Liberal Party candidate Mel Hingston, who's taking over from Gavin, or taking over as Liberal Party nomination for the federal seat of Braddon from Gavin Pearce at the next election. It was a good introduction. I hadn't, like most of us, hadn't met Mel Hingston before. In fact, I don't think he had been here to King Island either. So he spent a few days walking the ground with Senator Colbeck, which is excellent. We had a good and frank discussion about all issues currently that King Island's currently juggling, as well as the relevant background for things that he needs to be aware of. So that was very productive and very fruitful. And Senator Colbeck was able to give us a good update at that stage too about the Freight Equalisation Scheme report, which was on the cusp of being released back on that date in December. And he guaranteed his ongoing support in the Senate and his vote, if required, in the near future as well, for additional appropriations for the Freight Equalisation Scheme. So it was good to hear that from him as well. So Mel Hingston, I believe, may well be back this week, accompanying the Premier, to get to know us more and to meet more King Islanders and to get more feedback from King Islanders, as he obviously puts together his election campaign with the looming federal election. So look forward to having Mel back again this week. And hopefully this week will be an opportunity for more councillors and others on King Island to be able to meet him. So stay tuned for that. Councillor Lowe again.
Yep, the 20th of December, the meeting with the Royal Flying Doctor Service. Any sort of feedback from that one? It was a courtesy meet and greets, because obviously RFDS is so important for King Island as far as medical evacuation is concerned. They provide us a fantastic service, and they're critical to the medical support that we require in King Island. So I firstly wanted to thank them for that, and that we do appreciate the back of the clock medical evacuations that only RFDS does for King Islanders, and no doubt through doing that over the years they've saved many, many lives here. So I always express our gratitude for that. We talked about resourcing that they may have available for upgrade or improvements for the RFDS hangar at our airport, or in the future we may be able to go into some sort of a partnership arrangement to build new hangar structures which they could part use, and we kicked a few ideas of that nature around. But by and large, the CEO and the CFO hadn't been to King Island before, and the CEO hadn't been here for a while. So they spent a fair bit of time catching up with all involved here in the health industry and medical support system, obviously, and getting a good feel for our current issues and where and how RFDS can continue not only to perform their role but improve the role and services they provide, not forgetting RFDS Dental and other things as well that RFDS do provide to us, 2 or 3 monthly, quarterly, etc. So that was that, and they said they'll be back. They'll try and continue 6 monthly visits in person just to assess their own performance as an organisation, to continue building the relationships with our medical industry here and as well as all other pertinent stakeholders on King Island. So I thought it was a good, productive meeting, and I certainly enjoyed talking to them and they enjoyed talking to us. Councillor Allen.
Yeah, Mayor, am I hearing right, on the 16th when Senator Colbeck and Mel Hinson came over, they were keen to meet the councillors?
They'd suggested, or that again, this was a short notice visit, and they expected that we might have had our, because remember we moved our council meeting forward in December? They might have been working under the earlier presumption that we would have a workshop or a council meeting around the time frame they visited, but we'd moved it forward a week. So we'd essentially finished our business for the year, and we'd almost, we'd finished for the year as far as the council is concerned. So I think a couple of councillors were already off the island at the time, and because they'd missed the council meeting and because they'd missed the workshop, they were just happy to catch up with us and then see who else was available and freelance after that.
Yeah, Mayor, I do understand the circumstances, but like I hadn't applied for leave, so I was quite happy to read my emails and take note of whether any invitations have been sent out. So I know we can't wind the clock back, but in future, please, I would appreciate if people with that note of coming over and they wish to meet with the councillors, then I would like the courtesy afforded to me that the invitation is sent out, please.
Yeah, sure, fair enough. Good point. And yeah, they anticipated that they might be here to present themselves, introduce themselves to our workshop. So, but obviously they didn't transpire. But point taken. And yes, opportunities where I can bring these VIPs in front of the whole council and where all the majority of us are available, I'll certainly do that. So take it on board. Thanks. Councillor Lee?
We can make an opportunity on Friday for that to occur if councillors would like to meet with him.
Yeah, and again, I only found out he was visiting this afternoon myself, so I'm playing catch up. But yeah, there might be an opportunity on Friday. See what we can do. All right, any more questions then relating to my diary for December last year? Somebody like to move receipt of my diary? Councillor Ira Cook has moved. Councillor Green has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Across to item 10.1, the finance report for December 2024. Again, we'll take our time to go through this section by section as required. We've got Malcolm online for specific questions or issues. And again, we've got the financial tables attached. The financial tables attached, pages 19 through to 26 there. So, any council like to kick us off with the dot point pages, paragraph pages there? Any questions or discussion related to that? Councillor Healy?
In the quarry operations, section 4, I noticed we have a significant deficit year to date. Does it look like we're going to catch that deficit up, or is it an ongoing issue?
Yeah, through you then.
Just with the audio, is that the question, was that regarding the production or?
Just simply that the year-to-date variation is in deficit greater than we were anticipating. Is that deficit going to be fixed up to before end of financial year, or is it a continuing problem?
Was that it's a work in progress. We're currently completing a mid-year budget review. We're having a closer look at those and where we're going to finish at the end of the year. So there have been a couple of changes with quarry. I understand one of the recent changes whereas historically we put all everything through the quarry via the stores, but it's gone in and out of the stores. That's not necessarily the case now. So there's been a couple of operational changes, so we just need to look at that as part of our mid-year review and ensure that we're on track. The prior 2 years have been a deficit, notwithstanding the fact that we budget for a small surplus. The last 2 years have been about a $54,000 surplus deficit each year. So we're just currently investigating at the moment to see whether it's on track, especially in the context of some of the operational changes.
Thank you.
Councillor Allen?
Thanks, Mayor. My question refers to page 24, subheading footpaths and walking tracks. And it says upgrade footpaths and walking tracks, and then in brackets it's got priorities below to be costed and budgeted, budget distributed. I'm trying to find out what's below that I need to read. What's the below refer to, please?
Yeah, I think through Mr Mayor, that was a comment was putting in the prior budget document. I'm not actually sure, Travis Prosper, what that's right. So you'll see there's no actual spend on that. So I think there's a $56,000 budget spend. There hasn't been any spent on that to date. So I guess when we get closer to that, we'll probably give you more detail when there's an actual expenditure comes through.
Yeah, thanks, Malcolm. My follow-up question to that is, have those priorities been determined?
Yeah, we might be able to just put this question or see what Nanda has to say about this.
Yeah, but I think we're still working through a footpath policy in terms of priorities, and then we've got a very draft plan which we'll put back to council.
Yeah, just on that, being the chair of the Parks and Rec Working Group, it's something that we've been intimately involved in walking tracks and that type of infrastructure for ages. So this is probably more a comment. But the question is, would it be possible to have the Parks and Rec Working Group closely involved with the development of that the priorities in that particular plan, considering that's something that we have been in tandem looking at over quite a period of time?
Through the Mayor, my understanding is that the Roads and Bridges Working Group, where footpaths are more aligned to roads as opposed to walking tracks, will be looking at that, but it could be run past the Recreation Group as well.
Yeah, thanks for that. I totally understand it, and I also argued the counterpoint on numerous occasions, and also the need of actually getting the two families together to work this out. Get in bed together to get the best result for everyone.
Yeah, the Roads and Bridges Working Group will certainly consult with Parks and Rec Working Group about what path priorities are, and happily take on feedback from the Parks and Rec Group, and out of that we should come up with what are our agreed priorities for...
My suggestion is, for the benefit of the group, that this does not become a little turf war between two little groups, so we can work together, so we have some synergy happening and we don't end up with a road to nowhere or a path to nowhere.
Well, through the Mayor, that a path to nowhere won't happen. And just to remind councillors that working groups don't make decisions, so they'll all come back to a workshop when all 9 councillors are here. So just to make sure that we're clear on that process. There'll be no decisions made.
But the ability to have, to be intimately involved at the start, so when it comes to a workshop, we don't have to have something that's majorly changed.
But yeah, certainly if we can satisfy with existing resources in this financial year, mindful there's a spate of works about to commence at the moment as we head into our best months of the year for doing this kind of work. Hopefully we can satisfy a couple of your highest priorities, and we'll definitely share that list with you, and I'm pretty confident we can work something out.
All about good, seamless planning.
All right, any more questions then relating to the financial report? Let's go back to the recommendations on page 18. If there's no further questions or discussion, if councillors are happy, someone would like to move the recommendation that the council receives. Deputy Mayor has moved, thank you, and Councillor Healy has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Across to page 27. Jess, can you share your screen with that screen?
No.
Okay, all right.
I was trying earlier, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Just helps for us at this end of the table if we can read some of the fine print.
Yeah,
but that's all right.
I got issued a new laptop not very long ago, and I don't have the new laptop.
Okay, all right, no worries.
Which I didn't realise until...
All right, on to item 11.1, the operations report for December 2024. I just acknowledge that Nanda has now settled into his role and has crossed everything, so we can ask good technical questions of Nanda today if we're required to do so. But as I mentioned before, there's a spate of works about to commence, including the parking reconfiguration of Curry concurrent with that, commensurate with our available resources or underspends elsewhere, beautification of the main street as well. That's definitely one of our most important projects that we have to deliver as a council this financial year, and is the top of all of our constituents' wish lists as well, is to improve and beautify and reorganise our main street down the bottom. So I know you've got that very, if not your highest priority, very close to the top. All right, questions of the operations report. And Nanda, also in front of the council, it's at your discretion if you'd like to highlight anything or mention anything or give anything a plug, at your discretion to do so. Councillor Allen.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Does the beautification of Main Street plan include planting plants and vegetation?
It will do. Conceptually, we've been talking about how do we combine the two projects.
Yep.
So we're looking at things like planter boxes,
Yep.
annuals, rubbish bins. How can we just basically beautify the main street of Curry?
Yep.
And we'll combine that, if we can, with the marking of the car parks. So it's all being talked about conceptually, but how do we fund it is the issue.
Fantastic. Why I asked the question is it's something that interests me, and we've got some amazing community resources in knowledge of plants that are endemic to King Island, but also they actually grow on King Island. Well, so I'm just suggesting in the formation of such a plan, there's a great opportunity to involve our community in what happens down there, and also to tap into a wealth of community knowledge in the development. And because there have been some plantings in the past done with all good intentions, but the poor old plant struggled. Yeah.
We've got a horticulturalist on staff now as well.
Yeah, fantastic. But there's a wealth of centuries of King Island knowledge as well.
The challenge for us at the moment is that we've funded the parking reconfiguration and redesign, which is excellent, but we haven't fully funded as yet the concurrent beautification. Both should happen at the same time. Both should happen at once. So money that we have to spend on Main Street beautification will be cross levels or underspends from elsewhere, or other opportunity funding that might be given to us or thrown at us for whatever reason. If we'll do what we can this financial year with available resources, but if we don't complete the job to our satisfaction, or we only complete phase one, so to speak, we'll have to fund subsequent phases in next financial year or the financial year after that. But with a few $100,000 of underspends or cross levels or opportunity funding, we might be able to get a heck of a lot of beautification done, especially with the assistance of Landcare and other organisations that do a lot as well in the main street.
Just like to mention, there was $3,000 set aside for planting for trees, so maybe we could utilise some of that. Don't know.
Yeah, if it's a matter of funding, in the spirit of King Island volunteering, I would be highly confident that our King Island experts would fully donate their time and expertise.
And we all know
I'll put it out there, I'd be extremely confident they would take that time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Councillor Allen. And we all know, and we all certainly hear it from our constituents, and it's fair criticism, is our main street is long overdue for a tidy up, for a beautification, and to get the parking sorted once and for all too. We know it's a terrible bottleneck, and we know it needs to be fixed, and we're going to do that in the coming months. Hopefully that work will happen in March if everything goes as planned, and the contractors and others that we'll be using are available for us. The weather's good to us, etc. Thankfully, aside from a couple of public holidays in March, including our own show day, there's not Easter in March this year, and so it should hopefully be a full productive month. The best weather of the year that we have to do those sorts of jobs. All right, so any further questions then of the operations report? If councillors are satisfied, would somebody like to move that the operations report for December be received and noted? Councillor Rowan Cook has moved. Councillor Layla has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Across the page, item 11.2, the airport services report for December 2024. A comprehensive report there provided by Jayden and his team. I thank them for that. You'll see on page 30, aircraft movements for December are the highest for a long time, even more so than March last year. So that bodes really well for a busy Hopefully it translates as well, or is this translating as far as tourist numbers and visitation and other things are concerned. But December is the highest number of aircraft movements we've had for a few years, at least on that table. So that hopefully bodes well, and be interesting to see what this month and February is in months that follow.
Can they get a cup of coffee when they get off?
Almost.
Yes, Councillor Ira Cook, the Airport Cafe Boozer, call it what you will, is advertising at the moment for staff. So they're getting closer and closer and closer, and we will look forward to that opening. Councillor Ryan Cook, did you have a question?
No, Councillor Bowden.
Councillor Bowden. Go ahead.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yes, I note the increased air traffic with interest. I think that the numbers would be a lot more use to us if the charter aircraft passengers were tabulated accurately. Because as I understand it, we keep records from RPT, passengers inbound and outbound. But up till now, as I understand it, the passengers coming in on the charter services have not been tabulated, and that's really critical information for tourism planning.
We've got our first airport board meeting for the year next week, February 4th. I'll raise that with Jayden, acting airport manager, because with the paperwork for each aircraft visitation and the requirements for each aircraft to park or overnight here or whatever else, usually they have to list POB, person who's on board. So maybe at least as a rough and quick scrub from the aircraft movement paperwork that he has, maybe he can give us a bit of a feel for for charter numbers, and a sort of a ballpark, and maybe that will just be a bit more information that might help us know and try to work out total tourist numbers through all ways in and out of the island. Councillor Hill?
I know that many councillors have actually been approached by members of the community regarding toilet facilities for after-hours use at the airport. I'd just like probably at the airport meeting for that to be brought up. There might be some amazing ideas that people could come up with that weren't too costly for us to facilitate that. The numbers of out-of-hours charter flights are increasing. And as I said, I know a lot of councillors here have been approached by people flying private planes.
Yeah, it's definitely. Has there been any progress on that front?
Well,
we did talk about it a little while back.
I did provide a response to councillors in December last year, which provided the more holistic view of the airport. But it can be an item for the board if you.
Yeah,
the
we'll raise it next
may
week.
just have some ideas that are thinking outside the box that just might, kill
because
two birds with one stone.
again, this is peak season. We know there's lots of charters arriving outside of hours. A portally positioned, something along that line. Okay.
And I understand there's a cost involved, but just if it can not fall by the wayside, because
it's okay. I'll definitely raise it next week. Councillor Allen.
Yeah, Mayor, just following up on that one, and I did read in detail the General Manager's response last year, explaining why the answer to that is no, and I do understand the reasons fully. Do those same reasons apply to the case of residents who contacted councillors to do with not a charter plane but a private plane? So if that person gets in contact, I'll just explain no, and for the same sort of reasons? Does that
through the Mayor? Yes, so through the Mayor, the airport has hours, which you're aware of, and they're quite extensive Monday to Friday, and they're half times on Saturday and Sunday. So that's very well advertised for pilots or charters. So if they know that's the hours that the terminal is open. And so if they can work within those hours, that's great. If not, there's fees and charges that Council has set where we can open the terminal. So that's where we are in terms of that broader issue.
I understand. So to not just charter operators, to people with their own private planes, then that applies the same. Thank you.
Yeah, one of the private aircraft that visited over the summer period, or summer period continues, but I think before Christmas was just concerned that there wasn't sufficient tie-down provisions for their aircraft as well. That was a bit of a concern for chocks, and I mean, a lot of aircraft bring their own, but some don't. They expect that there's something for them to peg onto hook onto on a hard stand or
And,
whatever else. But
and again, that's been looked at, and it's very clear on when a charter or a private plane books to come here that's very clear that we don't have those facilities. And it's not hard to bring your own, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm not a pilot, but that's apparently what I've been told.
And just following on from that, from what I gather, I think we've all been speaking to the same person. I gather it's a matter of just having a bolt that can fold down into the concrete. It's not a costly thing. It just is future-proofing our little airport at very little cost.
Yeah. It's something, if we're successful getting additional funding in the immediate years ahead for apron expansion, hard stand expansion and hardening or whatever else, then more robust tie-downs or more robust earthing points or whatever else is required in a new piece of parking tarmac should be designed into it for sure. All right, any more questions then or discussion related to airport service report? Would somebody like to move that the airport report be received and noted? Councillor Green has moved. Councillor Ira Cook has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Over the page to item 12.1, Community and Cultural Development Report for December. First and foremost, as Mayor, and I know I speak on behalf of all King Islanders when I say well done for our Australia Day event on Sunday just past. It was an outstanding event, very well received. I've heard nothing but great feedback from it. So well done to our Australia Day 25 committee, particularly Taylor, Councillor Ian Allen, Councillor Serena Laidler, Lisa, Wade, and a whole range of others. We had our works through there on the day, and I know I'm missing plenty of people who put the event together and support staff and volunteers and everyone else. So well done. It was an outstanding day out at Old Ricara School on Sunday. Again, congratulations to our King Islander of the Year award winners for 2025, the Lions Club, of course. Hard to believe they've never won this before, but they have now. Long overdue. Hamish Crack, our Young King Islander of the Year, and of course Sally Hannavy, our King Island Citizen of the Year. So again, congratulations to those three winners. Hamish Crack hasn't yet received his award. He wasn't available on Sunday, so we'll look to present that to him personally, either at our next council meeting or another opportunity where most of us can congratulate him and pat him on the back. So well done, Taylor, to you and as everyone I mentioned for the Australia Day event. It's you've set the bar very high for the year for all other events that council oversees or manages or runs this year, and what a high standard you've set. So absolutely outstanding. Well done. Councillor Laidler.
I'd just like to comment and say it was a really great group to work with, and I know Taylor won't like me saying this, but I'm looking forward to Nara Cooper next year. So just thank you to everyone.
The promos were fantastic as well, put together by Wade and Jan. Do a fantastic job with their film clips, and it's a great promo for King Island, and there are thousands and thousands of hits those promos have already received, so that's brilliant. I guess that's the kind of advertising that not even money can buy, but it was a brilliant event, and well done all involved. Councillor Allen.
If I could just make a comment. Taylor got a citizenship late last year. What a way to start your citizenship. Like a month later, and we say, by the way, organise the activities for the national holiday. So, Taylor, you definitely got your citizenship in the training, so great job.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Mayor, and thanks to everyone here who was involved, because it was a great experience and a great day. Thank you.
Any questions then or discussions related to the rest of Councillor Healing?
Just a quick one on exhibitions through you to Taylor. Exhibitions, I gather there's been a call from locals to offer some exhibitions, for some ideas about exhibitions possibilities. I'm probably just putting it out there into the ether. That is a thing. Yep. Yes.
Sure. The General Manager, yes, Emma, thank you for asking. There initially was a call put out to the community to see if anyone wanted to be part of the new arts advisory group to decide on the exhibitions, which I think we spoke about in the last meeting. We did, and I also reached out to some people. We did come up with a planning team for that, which was great. And we've had our first meeting to sort out the exhibition calendar for this year, which had been delayed for various reasons. So we've got a rough sketch of what we're doing, but we've got still more to just really flesh out. So that's going to happen in a second meeting, which is scheduled for Monday. And then we should be able to bring you a complete exhibition calendar for, which includes already several community exhibitions and some of our, I'm getting a month ahead of myself, but a youth exhibition and and another local artist exhibition as well. So just haven't finalized anything yet, which is again in this report, but you should hear more next month. And also incorporating the ideas from the Heritage Arts and Cultural group that you're on, which was the fishing exhibition, a bit of a collaboration idea there. So.
No, it's just brilliant, and just for the community to realise that they can approach Taylor and come up with ideas for exhibitions that are a bit out of the box. We don't want the gallery to just be off-island people coming, putting up an exhibition and leaving again. We're really interested to speak to local people with different exhibition ideas. Football, dogs have been really successful in the past. The Landcare put together an exhibition. The bigger the variety that we can get at the gallery there, yes. So I invite the community to get involved.
Yeah, you're right. Nubar Gazarian's exhibit, the popular local that he is, was fantastic. Definitely a summer hit, and it's contributed to increased numbers. You can see there for November and December, the numbers going through the gallery are great. If only we had those numbers all year round, but we know it's seasonal. But that's brilliant. And also it was Jason Roberts, wasn't it, who had his big art launch at Water Wings back early this month, who's a very famous artist originating from King Island, who visits us from time to time and sometimes saves some of his best work for local release here on King Island before it goes to the rest of the country and the world. So it's great to have Jason Roberts as well, and the support of Water Wings, a fantastic private gallery that it is, that's made available to the community. So art is definitely alive and well, and we again, thanks to the volunteers as well. We rely upon a lot of volunteers, don't we, to open our gallery, especially for the summer throughput. So I want to thank our volunteers who allow us to have those additional opening hours throughout summer, so that more people can see our gallery. Any other questions or discussions relating to this? If councillors are satisfied, would somebody like to move that the Cultural Development Report for December be received and noted? Councillor Layla has moved. Councillor Ira Cook has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Across the page, item 13.1 is the Growth and Strategy Report for December. Again, mindful that Helen Thomas isn't with us at the moment. She's overseas. She's actually in the UK, so hence the reason she can't dial in either because of the huge time difference. So any juicy questions in this area will probably have to be taken on notice. Although the Deputy Mayor from the recent hub, from the recent hub group, might be able to answer a few ones, but just keep that in mind with questions or discussions. But we'll crack on. Councillor Healy.
Yes, section 3.4.9, I notice we've confirmed a reallocation of funding from visitor wayfinding signage to further analysis on visitor surveys. I understood the Wayfarer signage was quite a high priority in our tourism strategy. It's probably a question for on notice, but I'm just wondering the Wayfarer signage, whether it's still at the top of our list.
Well, through the Mayor, as I recall Ms Thomas saying that in previous meetings, and I could be wrong, so I will take it on notice, that the state government suggested that they could fund it, the wayfinding signs, and so we don't want to double up on costs. But we'll just have to confirm that, and if they are going to fund it, the question is then when, so we can progress it. But I think it is a high priority. That's my recollection from what Ms Thomas has said in the past.
But yes, signage continues to be an area of improvement for us across the island, and something we'll continue to keep an eye on, and if we have additional resources to allocate to improved and more signage on the island sometime soon, I know we'll certainly try and do it. Councillor Allen?
Yeah, just following up that and talking about additional resources. So if State Growth is kind enough to fund that signage, then am I right that there's now an opportunity to reallocate those funds to improve signage on roads that are actually council's responsibility, so that the project can be furthered?
Well, through the Mayor, I would need to take that on notice, but this is for tourism, so it's not just general road funding.
I understand, so that I'll rephrase the question. Is it possible to reallocate that money to tourism signage along the routes of council controlled and the roads councils are responsible for?
I will take that on notice, but Mr Smythe is saying no,
Possibly,
but maybe
yeah.
pass over to... Would you like to answer that question?
Probably from a budget point of view, our budget is extremely tight at the moment, so anything that we're saving is going into the bottom line, so would probably have to be deferred until next financial year, but not this financial year.
Yeah, I think I've got myself a little bit confused. So I was following up on what Councillor Healy said, that the question was that the report appears to say that if State Growth will fund that particular signage, then that grant money doesn't have to go towards that signage. And the report is saying that would be a decision could be made to allocate that to visitor survey. So it's about like moving the savings to a spot, and the report seems to indicate that the savings will be moved to the visitor survey. And my question is saying, is it a possibility that saving could actually be moved to signage but not on State Growth roads? So it's budget neutral.
Well, through the Mayor, we'll need to take that on notice because it would depend on what the grant allowed and what the grant was for, and whether the grant provider would then be happy to have that swapped over. So we'll take it on notice and get back to you.
And we have had NRE, Parks and Wildlife. They've funded some signage recently too. The shipwreck cans, they paid for that. Council installed it, so it was a kind of a partnership on that. Be nice to know we might have more partnership arrangements with either State Growth or NRE or someone else where we can continue to improve signage around the island. Councillor Layla.
I was going to ask, could we workshop signage at a future workshop? Because I have a number of questions, particularly around the Narracoopa master plan and requests in that as well. So I'm just...
Yeah, it's a...
We'll take it offline so I can get a bit clearer on signage for what. Just that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we obviously...
General sign.
King Island is a harsh environment, as we know. So many of our signs just get blown over or blown to buggery and never found again. And they probably need disproportionate replacement here on King Island because of the harsh elements and the high winds and whatever else. And definitely we need more signage as well. So, all right. So, any more questions then on that report, Councillor Healy?
Yes, part 3.4.8, it discusses the Tassie Tourism Ambassador Program and the Great Community Experience. They've both been, the Tassie Tourism Ambassador is basically getting locals to know more about our island and be able to discuss that with visitors or locals to enhance the customer experience. So look forward to the Tassie Tourism Ambassador Program. And the Great Community Experience is basically having the community working as a unit so that all the coffee shops aren't closed on the same day. For an example, that was one that was at top of mind. Just that we can work together as a community and to be happy to talk to one another to, once again, enhance the customer experience. So they're both programs that are coming in the next 3 or 4 months, and they're very exciting.
Excellent. Councillor Layla.
Just probably on notice, just who is getting invited along to those programs? Will there be an open invite?
Yes, absolutely. So I think West by Northwest are coming in the end of March, I believe. I don't think it's to a kiddie meeting or anything. I think it's going to be open, and and absolutely, that's the whole point. tourism people, members of Kitty, generally know about it, so they are all on board. It's the other people. It's the fabulous girls in the bakery. What can I do today? You can go to the boathouse. You can go for a walk here. You can do this. You can do this. It's to embolden everybody to share with visitors what they can possibly do. So absolutely, the entire community would benefit from it, even themselves. So.
And look, the issue of cafes or restaurants not being open on certain days, especially during our peak summer season here on King Island, is fair criticism. It's something that definitely needs to be better coordinated. We all respect and appreciate the challenges of small business, but there's commercial opportunity there for all, especially with during our peak season. So if that can be better coordinated and better advertised, or the word gotten out, so that there's always at least a few things open, particularly on a Monday or a Sunday, as we go through high summer, then that will be to the benefit of all.
And my comment absolutely wasn't a criticism of that. It was an example of how we can coordinate things a little better.
And get the word out too, so everyone knows, and everyone's got a place to go to, just to confirm opening hours and opening days and whatever else.
The great community experience is actually being put together by the Tourism Hospitality Association. They've worked it in Queenstown, they've worked it all the way up the west coast, and I believe down the east coast as well, Bridport. So I look forward to it, and I hope we can have some learnings from it.
Yeah, that's good. The Tasmanian Hospitality Association and others. It's great if they come over and do that. Any more questions then, or discussions, Councillor Allen?
Yes, thanks. Mayor, mine relates to the Hub project. I understand since the conception of this project, with the rate of inflation, especially in the building sector, then it's been necessary to change components of the project to fit within budget. Have there been any changes over the last couple of months? Have there been any cost savings to that project over the last couple of months that anyone in the room is aware of?
Deputy Mayor and Deputy General Manager, at your discretion to answer.
No cost savings, still remaining within budget of 5.3 million, using the 300,000 council contribution. We are hoping to bring a paper to a future workshop about the history of the hub and where it's come from and where it's from in today's dollar terms. I believe in today's dollar terms it's 6.2 million when you put it in present value of the dollar, but they're still going to deliver it within the 5.3 million budget. So they are looking at what they can cut out. For example, that walkway to the roof was one thing that they've cut out. And the project team do a lot of work on screwing down basically the cost of materials, contractors, and making sure that when they bring materials across here, the containers are full, so they're not coming across half full or anything like that. So there's a lot of that goes on in the background. But yes, we do hope to bring a paper to a future workshop and explain where it's come from since 2021 and where we are today, particularly budget-wise and the cost of the dollar today.
And hopefully as the facility, and we can all see, I think I saw them putting soil on the roof, doing those sorts of things in recent days, but as it nears lock-up, just confirming that we're still on track and on schedule to open the facility from about April or so. Councillor Allen?
Yeah, and my follow-up question, so I do understand it's delightful to hear that it's tracking within the budget. Had there been, in the last couple of months, any design changes, as in to try to keep within that budget? Anything being pruned?
Oh, I think there's quite a few things are pruned as they go along, but no significant things, I don't think, Sevu.
Yeah. Display cabinets might be coming out.
Oh, right, yeah. So they were going to have glass display cabinets on the veranda, but they're working through the cost of those at the moment because it might be just cost prohibitive. So they would be taken out, for example, and could be put in at a future date. Another example was the windows. The company that supplied the windows had a fixed price contract and they've gone out into liquidation. So we were able to bring their fitters across and still put the windows in, but made a significant budget saving. I think another one was we managed to get some funding from another source for landscaping. So they're doing all of those kinds of things and behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, I just find it personally helpful, just like, as things change, to just have a quick little briefing note, because we do get asked numerous questions from people, and it's unfortunate if we talk it up and then suddenly we sing the praises of something that's now been cut from the project. As in, I in the past talked up the roof access as being a highlight of the building, so with that information, then we can just talk it back down again.
Yes. Yeah.
I think the steel work became too expensive and safety.
Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah, I'm not questioning at all the reasons why the decision's been made. I'm just asking for, if it's all possible, please, Mayor, for that information to be in a briefing note to councillors in a timely way. So, when people ask about the project, then we are not misleading people.
Yeah, anticipate a lengthy and detailed update when Helen gets back, and
yeah, what's changed, what's changing. Yeah.
All right, any further discussion then, or questions related to growth and strategy? Would somebody like to move the growth and strategy report for December be received and noted? Councillor Healy has moved. Councillor Laidler has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Across the page, item 14.1, General Manager report for December. I think, given we had our workshop only last week and we're up to speed on most of pending decisions and other issues, don't anticipate that we have much to discuss. General GM, at your discretion, if I want to mention anything.
Through the Mayor, no, happy to answer any questions. It's a pretty brief report, being December.
Councillor Laidler.
The update, page 42, the update economic one in regards to the Mayor and senior staff from Circular Head Council regarding opportunities for freight advocacy between the two councils. So how did that go?
We've had a couple of discussions now, haven't we, with Circular Head Council, Mayor Jared Blizzard over there and his team, and they are broadly supportive of improving shipping, especially improving shipping that comes out of the Circular Head region, Stanley Port namely, but also upriver near Smithton as well, because obviously small ships can work out of that part of Smithton as well. And that they see the potential in the future, if it comes to pass, of direct shipping links between Circular Head, King Island and any port in Victoria on our side of Bass Strait. They see the economic benefits of that and the potential to link 3 massive agricultural heartlands by direct shipping for the first time in history. So they're supportive of that, broadly supportive, but they understand it's more important for King Island in the meantime to re-establish our triangular shipping service to Tasmania, Victoria, and whatever works best for us in the first instance, they understand is the priority. But then after that, when and if the timing is right, they'd like to pile in and join us and try and establish permanent shipping links between our regions and plugged into Victoria, whichever port they may end up being.
It's probably, through the Mayor, it's probably fair to say that they reached out to this council and I think they've moved a motion sometime last year before the freight equalisation review, and I think they put a submission into that review as well.
Yeah, they definitely want to see their Port of Stanley used more in the future, and top of the Smithton River inlet area too has potential for it to be developed for more shipping. So that's that. All right. Deputy Mayor has moved the General Manager report be received and noted. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Rowan Cook has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Over the page, item 14.2, council workshops held. We had our first workshop of the year last week and covered all that subject matter there. There's nothing to follow up on, is there? Most of it we're deciding tonight as it goes. Any questions related to the workshop? Our next workshop, again, given we're compressed because we moved our January meeting back a week, our next workshop is next week, next Tuesday. So we're straight into the next workshop next week on account of that slightly compressed time frame from moving our council meetings around. So just confirm that's in your diary for next week. Somebody like to move that the council workshop report be received and noted. Councillor Ira Cook has moved. Councillor Layla has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Over the page, item 15.3, the information report for December. Well, again, we'll just quickly go through this section by section. Good to see a fair few building permits listed there. Always good to see. Development happening at all levels. If there's no questions on building permits or notifications or procurements, we'll go through to the actions list from page is that? Actions list from page 48 onwards. We'll work through that. Obviously, as items are completed and reported back to council, they're taken off the actions list. So at the moment, the actions list continues to get shorter and shorter. A trend we hope continues, but we'll see how we go. But there are a couple of other sagas on here, as we know, that remain in play after many years, and there'll be some celebration when and if we do get them off. Councillor Layla?
No, it's fine. I'll leave it for the workshop.
Just on a note from on page 55 of the actions list, 293.24, our planning approval from last month from the 12 villas in Cape Wickham, it's under appeal at the moment. So Robin mentioned that to us at the workshop last week. So we'll monitor that and obviously just see how it goes.
So, I mean, we'll keep the councillors informed of where that's going.
And the vintage car, did you want to mention anything relating to that?
I think that's in progress.
Okay.
There'll be a report, there will be a response back to councillors tomorrow.
All right, any other questions then or discussion points related to the actions list? If not, we'll move on to page 57, service requests for December. 18 service requests, monthly average is usually around 20, so I guess that's reasonable. And the backlog continues to be reduced, so well done to Nanda and the works team for continuing to reduce the backlog of those service requests. And obviously getting the safety and other urgent ones done as a priority. That's good to see. Any questions relating to, and obviously we discussed the specific service requests at our workshop last week as well. It's good that we continue to get that visibility so we know what's in play, what's been satisfied and what's top of the priorities for safety or utility reasons or whatever else. All right, would somebody like to move that the information report for December be received and noted? Are we ready? Councillor Green has moved. Councillor Ira Cook has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Across to item 15.4, the Deputy GM report for December. Deputy GM, always at your discretion if you want to give something a plug or mention highlights.
Thank you, Mayor. Very pleased to announce that on the 10th of February we've engaged a waste coordinator for 12 months. Dr. David Shaler, who's a PhD chemist, will be coming to us for 12 months to look at our entire waste management process. He's highly qualified, a really nice guy, and he'll fit in well with the team, so we're very pleased to have secured him. And we're also in conversation with Tomra Cleanaway, who are the company that from Victoria that's got the contract across Tasmania to do the container refund scheme. They hope to have their reverse vending machine located down at the IGA by February, and they'll start taking cans, bottles, plastics, all that kind of thing. We'll crush the glass bottles on the island, so we need to get our glass crusher configured appropriately. And then we'll store in a container down at Charles Street there cans and plastic and things like that, and they will ship them off the island for us. So that'll be a significant step forward in our recycling program starting in February. So we're pleased with that kind of progress.
Excellent.
Good news.
Councillor Allen.
Through you, Mayor, the Lions Club have collected aluminium plans as a service to the island for quite a few years and part of their revenue raising. The question is, have they been contacted? And if so, what was their views about this change? Yeah.
Well, through the Mayor, this is a statewide initiative which has been highly publicised for many, many months. So I'm not too sure that there's been exact discussions, but this is a state initiative of which we don't control. So it's going to be progressed, and so I'm not too sure if there's been direct conversation, but certainly wouldn't be news to anybody on King Island or anyone in Tasmania for that perspective.
I do understand that, and I'm sure if they read the council minutes and newspapers, they'll be aware of that. But the question was, have they been contacted?
Yeah, they're well aware of it.
Yeah. And the question was, what do they think?
Can you answer that?
Yes, I can answer that. As far as the Cairns are concerned, it doesn't particularly worry them. They've been doing it for years, but they don't make much money out of it, and the people that do it are getting a little bit old and ill, not quite as firm as what they used to be.
Yep.
And so it's probably a godsend for some of them.
Okay.
So as far as aluminium cans go, they don't mind if they do go the way of someone else. They are keen to keep hold of the battery, so...
Yeah.
Run its course. Fair enough.
It's pretty safe.
All right. Any other questions then, or discussion points? Let me find my place. Here we are. Somebody like to move that the Deputy General Manager report for December be received and noted. Do I have a mover? Councillor Green has moved. Thank you very much. Councillor Healy, are you seconded? Councillor Layla has seconded. Thank you. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Right, that's that is it. Across to closed council. That's all the business in the ordinary meeting. Would somebody like to move that we adjourn to closed council to discuss the following matters? Councillor Ira Cook has moved. Deputy Mayor has seconded. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. The ordinary meeting is adjourned. I thank the public for attending or listening to the recording, and we'll take a quick break. Thank you.